Welcome back, everybody, to part two of the National Guard training for food riots and mass detentions, or mass roundups. So, yeah, we covered this first article here, is Homeland Security expecting a major terror attack. Just went over these some of these things that we know the elites have planned for us, for the children, for us. And so now we're going to move on to this next article, National Guard training for riot control, mass detentions, and this is a pretty long article, and I definitely recommend you go to the link I posted and check this out because there's some pretty scary pictures in here, guys. They do normally do these national, national level exercise every year, and they do different exercises for usually natural disasters, man-made disasters, but it all comes down to two things, like I said, and that is the food riots and the biological attack. But see, that's what these are right here. These National Guard members are acting as if they're citizens, and the guys with the batons, they're just training them, desensitizing them, and they go right there. And I want you to take a look at this right here. I know when I noticed that, it kind of sent chills down my spine. Food now. There's guys holding the food now sign with the National Guard training, walking down this little street right here from one end to the other end, just walking all the way through. And it looks like ghetto or something, because now I'm looking back here, you see the little thing that says Live XXX, like her house, the bunny house. So, but let's read what this author, Max Slavo, wrote. In a previous story, we noted that reports surfacing of multi-state National Guard mobilizations. Further information made available after our report, much of which was published in the comment section by contributors, who scoured the web for more information on the subject, suggests that the report was true and the National Guard units had indeed been called up for training and possible deployment for domestic emergencies. With the BP oil leak heating up, literally, there is a distinct possibility of noxious fumes and toxic hurricanes hitting our coast. They're talking about death winds, of course, the benzene and I can't remember the other vapor. But that's what they're talking about, death winds and the possibility of the military basically having checkpoints and perimeters, and they're basically already doing that right now on the beach. But evacuating people over the next coming months, because there is minimal research on the subject available to the public, and basically they're not telling us anything because reporters are being told to leave from the site down there on the beach. It is difficult to establish what is or not a threat. Nonetheless, we advise those of our readers on or near the coast to remain aware of any developments regarding the possibility of emergencies or evacuations in the areas. For those who think that we are overreacting to the possibility that the federal government would respond to an emergency, specifically mandatory evacuations on the Gulf Coast with the use of National Guard troops, we direct you to the article below, brought to our attention by Worldwide Wake Up Now and originally published at Public Intelligence. In the event of a mass evacuation event, be it on the Gulf Coast or as a result of an earthquake, chemical attack, biological attack, or other national emergency, which basically I think most of us can agree it was most likely going to be a false flag attack. Excuse me. So we fully expect National Guard troops to be deployed. There will be mass chaos, violence, rioting, and looting, and local law enforcement simply will not have the capability to handle such a disaster. The National Guard trained specifically for this, as depicted in the following article. Vigilant Guard, and this is 2010, riot control detention drills. Soldiers and airmen from the Idaho National Guard line up outside a correctional facility in Alaska for a natural disaster training exercise. But, I guess if you look at it from the other standpoint is, no, it's not really so much about them keeping prisoners in the prison. They would be more focused on, the federal government that is, they'd be more focused on keeping law-abiding citizens in these national emergency centers. So this picture I showed you before, it's National Guard members from Alaska, Idaho, and Oregon. I just been to Oregon, and I did see little military recruits, ROTCs, running around everywhere. Participate in riot control training April 26, 2010 at Elmendorf Air Force Base, which I have been to Elmendorf. I was in the Marine Corps. The 48 citizens, soldiers, and airmen from all 3 states will receive additional training, non-lethal target practice, which is probably rubber bullets and tasering people and all that good stuff. An entry point, oh yeah, don't forget the LRAD, acoustical device. An entry control point in convoy operations. Entry control point. Checkpoints. And the enhanced training is preparation for exercise operations in Kenai at Wildwood Correctional Facility, a local shopping mall, and interacting downtown with civilians in the aftermath of a simulated major earthquake as part of Vigilant Guard. Keep hearing these earthquakes, which is kind of not really funny to me, because I do realize that the military-industrial complex does have the capability of creating earthquakes. So when I keep seeing this thing about earthquakes being cause for the National Guard to come out, it's kind of scary to me, because even in the white papers that I've read by the Air Force and that in universities back in '96 on owning the weather in 2025, they say specifically, they speak specifically to earthquakes, and that the technology was available in '96 to create earthquakes, and that it would be such a great weapon to use. And this is what they said. This is what it said in the article. Was because it's not an article, but it was a white paper, a government white paper. It said because you would whoever it was targeted at, or just the general population, would never know where the earthquake came from. It would just appear to be natural, and so that's why they like that little earthquake machine. But yeah, so I mean, it could exercise at the Wildwood Correctional Facility. Well, that's a FEMA camp. Local shopping mall. That's basically the public areas, right? At the mall, at the football stadium, sports events. Just seeing military and National Guard boss around American citizens. And then I like this, interacting downtown with civilians. Yeah, the interacting consists of tear gassing them and tackling and beating the hell out of reporters who want to report on the tyranny. So that's basically what they're talking about. But it's really, this is the hardest part, is that I see this, and many other people see how the military, the National Guard, the reserves, the police who have been militarized, and all the goodies and tools and toys that they've gotten over the past 10 years, and all the agencies that have been created to crack down on the war on drugs, and now the Department of Homeland Security to fight the war on terror. I'm not saying most people, but I'm aware, and I know that there's a decent amount of people out there that are aware of what this is really going to be used for. And it's going to be used for, yeah, that's a pretty good example, right? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty scary stuff, because I know that there are a small group of elites that are controlling and our society and steering it, and they do indirectly support crises. They profit and they consolidate their power off of them. So I understand that whatever's coming is going to be staged. It's going to be a false flag terrorist attack. They're going to drop chemical, biological weapons, whatever. They're going to release viruses into the thing. They're going to let the economy implode. And, I hate to say it, God bless these people. They have good intentions, but they're tool bags. They're tools. And they're going to be used to enslave their fellow man and women here in America. And God help us all, man. Please join me in part 2 of this 3-part series. Thank you.